Sounds great, Brent. Thank you for having us. Thank you for NAFCO. Yes, again, Jace Krumwiede with Macurco Flame Detection, and we manufacture a wide array of portable and fixed gas detection equipment. The first product line I'm going to be talking about is AIM Safety. That's our single and multi-gas monitor family. These are units that you put on your person when you're going into a dangerous or hazardous area. The single gas monitors are designed to detect one specific gas. So I have oxygen, carbon monoxide, hydrogen sulfide. There's also sulfur dioxide and ammonia as well. So those are the five single gas monitors that we have available. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. They're designed for hazardous use, IP67 rated, very rugged. Again, strong alligator clips. You can wear them on your lapel, your hard hat, very close to the breathing level to ensure that you are, in fact, not inhaling toxic gases. This oxygen monitor, for example, I'm going to test it by breathing carbon dioxide into it. CO2 is going to bring the oxygen level down, and as you can hear, see as well, it is flashing, it's vibrating, it's buzzing, it's letting you know to get out of that space. So very good little unit, 2 years. You can bump test it, you can calibrate it. After the 2 years, it is a disposable unit. The unit itself cannot be turned on or off. Once you turn it on, it is on for 2 years. So pretty straightforward on that end. Once it's on, it's on. Yeah, so it can be bump tested. It can be calibrated. We recommend bump testing before each use. You want to make sure it's working properly, just like any safety equipment. That could be performed using a manual calibration type setup or with a bump test station. What I have in front of me here is a PM400 bump test station, and I'll show you how this works when I get to the 4-gas monitor. Gas cylinder inside of it. The other option would be to utilize a regulator, some tubing, a calibration hood, and then your bottle of gas. And what you're going to do is apply gas to it, make sure it's reading the concentration that you're applying to it, and then calibration performs in the same way. It's just within the monitor itself, you're telling it it's in calibration mode. So it's a good way to maintain it, make sure it's reading properly. The single gas monitors have event logging, so if a unit goes into alarm or a unit is calibrated, it's going to keep a record of that. And further down the presentation, we'll go through the software where you can pull that log.
Right. Thank you.
No problem. Next, we get to the multi-gas monitor. So this is a 4-gas unit measuring oxygen, carbon monoxide, hydrogen sulfide, and then also your combustible gases, or your LELs, as commonly referred to. 2 options here. One is a PM400-P. The P stands for Pellister. That's a catalytic bead type sensor. You have up to 24-hour charge on a single PM400-P unit. The negative aspect of that sensor technology is that it is a power hog, so you're only getting about 24 hours before you need to recharge it. The other option, which I have in my hand, is the PM400IR, and this unit uses an infrared sensor for measuring combustible gases. Because it doesn't use as much power, you're looking for up to 60 days continuous runtime on that. So if you have trouble charging your battery for your phone at night, the same thing would apply. Just leave it on for almost 2 months and you're good to go. Various screens and alarm levels that you'll see in here. This calibration hood that I showed you previously actually just snaps right into the front of the unit. So if you're going to do a manual calibration, you got it right there, and then that's where you have your bottle of gas and you're applying it into it. Pretty straightforward, again, very rugged, designed for explosion-proof environments, and very rugged as well, so it does have the IP67 rating on that. Yeah, absolutely. If you just have a couple of units, sometimes the manual calibration, manual test is the way to go. Once you get into larger fleets, it may make more sense to do something like that. I'll show you the station right here. So very easily transportable in a very hard, elegant case. Open that thing up, and what you'll see is 4 bays. Now the single gas and the multi-gas station is the same setup, it's just a different form factor, but you're going to see those bays will accept up to 4 monitors. What I do is I press that in there, and you'll see it sticks, and then you'll have 2 buttons here.
We got you. That's good.
One for your bump testing, so it's going to do an automatic bump test on it. Made up whether it passes or fails, and then the next one would be for doing an actual calibration. So bump test and or calibrate up to 4 units at a time. Done. There you go. It's going to keep the monitor. The 4 gas monitors will keep an event log, just like the single gas. So any alarms, any sort of calibrations, bump tests. It'll also keep a data log, so it'll routinely be pulling the sample of the gas it's seeing, and you can pull that up in the log, so it's a little more intricate on that. That's a good question. It does not charge it, so one option would be what comes standard with the 4-gas monitor, and this is just a simple wall plug-in. So it slides into the back of the unit there. The other options that we would have available would be a car charging unit, available as an accessory. And then we also have a charger that can charge up to 5 units at a time. So very easy to move, again, very accessible. Either way, when you're working with the IR, you only have to do it once every 60 days. Now, if you do purchase a manual calibration kit, and this is the same case that we use for some of our other calibration kits for our fixed products, you'll have them in a nice handy carrying case. You'll have your cylinders of gas, your regulators, a good spot to just keep everything in one place. I'll transition over here to show you a little bit about the software that you can use with these monitors. So this is our PM Link software. PM Link is a USB interface, plugs into your PC, and then uses IR communications to communicate to a single gas or a multi-gas monitor. So I'm going to line these up here. Go ahead and read that monitor. When it says read complete, it's going to show you the user ID or message so you can name these units. And you can also change quite a few different settings here, different alarm levels, whether or not they conform to OSHA, time-weighted average, or time-weighted L, short-term exposure limit, a lot of other options, stealth mode, differentiating alarms. So if 2 of the gases are being detected, you could have a different audible alarm than just the one. This is also how you're downloading all of the logs. So a log, like I was mentioning for data logging as well as event logging, you're able to do that. Yes, yep, so it will show the name of the unit on the instrument as well. Yep, that is correct. So what I did just there is downloaded the log, and it outputs into very easy to read CSV file, which you can open within any sort of spreadsheet software such as Excel. And there you'll see the history of logs that it has recorded. I've had this unit for a number of years, so I see some going back all the way to 2018. But this one is showing your calibration log. You'll see a bump log, and then the overall event log that shows any sort of low or high alarms. I do a lot of demonstrations, so even with this being an oxygen monitor as well as the other gases, I am able to breathe into the instrument and get that unit to go off there. So they do have the backlit display as well, so even in low light conditions, you're going to be viewing that monitor, able to detect readings in real time. Any other questions on that aspect of it? Again, the PM link will work with the single gas or the multi-gas monitors. Now we'll transition over into the Macurco building and home products. So these can be used standalone, as Brent mentioned. Here's a single unit. I have a bunch more on the wall, but this is a 6 series, part of our commercial series detectors. Wide variety of gas types, carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, combustible gases, also work with a lot of different toxics like hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, you'll get into oxygen, carbon dioxide. This product line is growing very significantly, so a lot more gases to come, but general purpose type unit, 4-inch by 4-inch electrical box. They do have onboard relays, so you can do localized control of exhaust fans, turn on and strobe to a fire panel. You can do all sorts of stuff with this. They do also have a digital display, so you can see the readings in real time. Onboard buzzer as well, so you'll have that local audible alert. Slide the cover off. We'll take out a screw and slide that cover off, and then you'll have a 2-button interface to change various settings, add delays to your relays for not engaging fans right away, maybe waiting a minute or two. And then some units will have replaceable sensors, so after the life of that sensor is expelled, you can go ahead, pop in a new unit, get that calibrated, and get it back on the wall. One other aspect or output of what this unit does is it outputs a 4 to 20 milliamp analog signal. These can be used to run VFDs, variable frequency drives. They also are what are used to communicate to our control panels. So for larger installations, parking garages, ambulance bays, fire truck bays, things like that, where you're worried about carbon monoxide and nitrogen dioxide, all of these units can communicate back to a control panel, and that control panel is basically doing the outputs, doing the controls that you're looking for in a system. So we do have horns and strobes that can communicate and can be controlled by this, but a lot of times you're going to see fans. Obviously, these are not the size of fans you'd be using in that sort of environment, but for show purposes, absolutely, yes. So with some of our control panels, you do just have the address. This is address 1. You can add a label onto it, to reference that out in the field. It's accepting up to 99 detectors. With our DVP 1200 control panel, which we just released, you do have up to 192 different detectors, and you also can label those. So if it's, northwest corner, anything like that, you can add those labels into that. So Macurco is all about is, being your one source for all gas detection equipment, working with a great partner like to this side of the wall here real quick. So a good setup for some applications. We do have all sorts of different power supplies, things of that nature. This one's actually a plug-in. Not sure if you can see that very well, but what this is doing is providing 24 volts DC power to this detector, and this detector is controlling that horn strobe. So it's a nice little package, easily plug and play. You don't need to call an electrician to get that done. But we do other different ways to do that sort of plug and play system. So yeah, a lot of different ways to utilize the commercial series products, and versatility is what's built into them when we design that. That's the biggest one, all depending on the sensor technology. Some electrochemical sensors may last 2 years, some may last up to 10, and then you'll have catalytic bead sensors for measuring combustible gases. You'll have non-dispersive IR or infrared sensors for measuring combustible gases, also carbon dioxide. So it really doesn't matter. So some of those can last up to 15, 16 years. So there's a wide variety of the lifespans of those sensors. But the ones with the shorter lives, that's why we allow for the sensors to be replaced in the field, get them calibrated, test regularly, and you should be good to go.
Great job. Thank you.
Yep. So if there are no other questions on the commercial, the Macurco building and home type products, I'll go ahead and bring you over to our industrial side. So Track XP is our industrial product line. Again, gas detection is what we do. It's what we focus on. So being able to have a solution for anything residential all the way up to heavy industrial, that's where we want to be. So You'll see a lot of the control panels, different inputs, anywhere from 2-channel, so 2 detectors, up to 64 detectors. So it's really about providing a specific solution that's going to meet your needs when you're talking about Track XP. Different enclosures. What you'll see here, these green units, these are aluminum Class 1 Division 1 enclosures. So you'll have a wide variety of gas types. You'll have different outputs available. Whether that's Modbus TCP, Modbus RS-45, 4 to 20 milliamp analog outputs, and also onboard relays. We can accommodate those different options. So again, finding out what you need for your solution is how we're going to piecemeal that specific solution together. Right here in the black, you'll see polycarbonate. So these are Class 1 Division 2 non-incentive units. So they will not provide that explosion-proof rating, but they will still, allow you for a washdown rated type unit. And again, you'll have a multitude of different sensors, different gas types available within those products. The T40 is our flagship. It does have a color backlit display, so green is good. When you're not seeing any dangers, it's going to be green. When it goes into individual alarms, you'll go from yellow to orange to red, progressively indicating the severity of said alarm. So very easy to see from a distance, very handy. Our other fixed transmitter, and that is non-color display, is still backlit here, and you're going to have some limited options. So, start with the T40. One of the other great features of the T40 is that it is dual sensor capable of any gas type. So if you need 2, combustible gas sensors or 2 electrochemical, you can do that with the T40.
Thank you.
Absolutely. One other thing I'm going to do just to show you, this is an integral sensor you'll see here. So it does have one integral sensor. That's where the transmitter is located, this one sensor there. And then it's actually connected right here to a remote. So sometimes you're going to want to mount a sensor up high or up low in the space, and then the other one with the display, you're going to want it breathing level or eye level. So say, for example, it's methane, and you want methane being lighter than air, you want it to be mounted high up in the space. You can mount that remotely, and I'll show you using a simple sensor simulator. I'm going to spin that around, and that's going to show you a change in the levels not only at the display, but up here as well. With the T40, it does use a Modbus communication to go back and forth, so you're limited by a couple thousand feet. So not a real. The T30, you are limited up to 50 feet in the right conditions. So if you need to go a lot further, again. One other aspect of the Track XP that I'd like to talk about is the wireless transmitters. So we do have wireless options as well. So these transmit either 900 megahertz or 2.4 gigahertz back to a control panel. Should have that in my screen right here, the WCR control panel. So same concept, it's just instead of hardwiring the units together, it has a battery inside of it, and it is communicating within one of those. This has an oxygen sensor on here, so what I'm going to do again, use that CO2 that I exhale, put it into here, and watch the levels creep down on this one. If I got it down enough. So again, there you go. You got the oxygen levels creep down to about 15.8% by volume. That's triggering the alarms on the wireless control. You can have up to 32 units connected there wirelessly, and these are single or dual sensor capable. So you could have, for example, this is, again, the polycarbonate. This one you have your aluminum enclosure. This one has a dual integral sensor, so you can have one sensor, 2 sensors, same gas, different gas, and this is going to communicate back in the same fashion.
Very, very nice.
How our sensors work is they are smart sensors, so you not only have that raw sensor, but you have a circuit board on there that's going to store the calibration, additional information and config information regarding that information. And they're very smart, so you line up these arrows, pop it in there, get your sensor housing cover on, If you turn it on, it's going to ask you if you want to upload that information into your transmitter. Very quick and easy process. You'll have it in there. It syncs up with the controller. So it makes it for very easy if you need to, change sensors, various horns and strobes, notification appliances that we do offer just in conjunction with our control panels and our gas detectors. This is Anna, so alarm notification appliance. It's ultimately just an all-in-one notification tool. Can be wireless, so communicate wirelessly to those wireless transmitters, or a hardwired installation. So you have your strobe, different options, depending on the decibel level you're needing, and then also various, horn and then various strobes available. So this one currently, has 4 strobes. So 4 different, alarm conditions it can provide information on.
Wow. Very, very nice.
The last item, the IR cameras, as you refer to them as, flame detection. So a lot of times with gas detection, you are going to be worried about the flame and how it propagates. We have both UV-IR and IR3 or triple IR. We do have options with or without an HD camera. That camera is going to allow you to not only get real-time visibility of what it's seeing, but it can store that log minutes before, minutes after, so you can go back, find out what happened, what started that fire, as well as after the fact, what sort of fire suppression, how did that handle getting rid of the fire, whether it's CO2 or foam.